You can actually stack up as many sounds as you like. Basically, a sound just needs a keyframe, so all we have to do is give it one. Now, if I was going to add another sound, like let's say our ding sound, our button ding that we imported before, I'd want to put it on another layer, just to keep things clean. So let's make another layer above our background music. I'll just press the new layer button, and of course we'll go up to our brand new layer 20 here. I'll double click on the name, and let's rename that Effect. Now to add a sound to our new effect layer, all I need is a keyframe. So I'm just going to click somewhere in that layer. I'll press F6 because it's blank, and we'll get a blank keyframe there. And if we click on that keyframe, we can see that it has sound properties just like our original one. I'll pull down the name menu, and this time we'll choose the button ding wave. And there we can see a much shorter little waveform indicating that short sound. Now basically when the playhead gets to that frame, it'll simply play both sounds. So it's pretty easy to stack these items up and have everything play as normal. Now let's try out something here. I'm just going to scroll my timeline down just a little bit, and while I have that keyframe selected, I'm going to grab it and move it down here to the exhibitions frame. Now let's think about this. Our music's going to be playing, our playhead will be stopped at home, but if we click the exhibitions button, the behavior or the action script on that button is going to run it right up to that frame, and then it'll play the sound. Now, if our main music is still playing, it'll play both sounds. And if it's finished and faded out, we'll just hear the single sound. So let's try that out. I'll just test my movie once again. Command Return or Control Enter on the PC. Cue the music. And I'm going to try to hit the button while the music's playing. There you can hear the beep plays right over top of the music file, just like we said. Now, I can't click it again right now, but I can reset the button by going to Contact and then going back to Exhibitions. And there we hear our button sound again. So let me close up our test movie window. Now that was a pretty sneaky way to make a button sound, but we actually have a much better way. I'm actually going to remove the effect completely from the main timeline. I'll just take the entire layer, we'll select it, and I'll press the trash can icon. And let's go into the button itself to add the sound. I'll double click on Exhibitions, and if you remember, we have that interesting button timeline here. Now we've got layer 1, but we can rename that Text because that's what's in that layer. And while we have that layer selected, let's make a new layer. We'll change the layer name here to Effect. And what I'm going to do is add a keyframe. Now I want the sound to play exactly when the user presses the down button, so I'm just going to go to the down frame. I'll press F6 to add a blank keyframe there. It's blank because the first one's blank. And you can see on that keyframe we have the same sound settings that we do on every other keyframe. So we'll just go and select button ding wave. Now the sound's going to play right here. Now let's test out our movie once again. Command Return or Control Enter. Here comes our animation. And I'll press the Exhibitions button. Every time we press it, we're going to get a ding now because we don't have to rewind the playhead to get our sound in the right position. So that's a much more consistent way to create sounds and add them to buttons. Let me close my test window again. And there we've seen that you can add a sound basically any place you have a keyframe. Now normally I would actually go to the other 3 buttons and add the sounds to the down state of them as well. And I actually encourage you to go ahead and do so. I'm going to take the sounds out of my application only because I won't have to talk over them as we test our movie for the rest of the chapter. So feel free to leave yours there, but to remove mine, I'm just going to make sure I select the effect layer, and I'm just going to hit the trash can icon, and that'll remove it completely from this Exhibitions button. And then I'll go back to scene 1, and I'll do the same thing for our background music. I'm just going to click on that layer, click on the trash can, and that'll remove it from my timeline as well.